Boxing King Media, we are joined today by Malik Scott. Malik, thank you very much for joining us tonight. It's tonight
Absolutely,
here,
brother.
but it's obviously early afternoon in LA, I think you're in.
Yes, 3:25 here, 3:25 p.m.
Brilliant. Obviously, I don't want to start with the obvious question about the fight. I want to go back to the moment.
Real quick, brother. I know, like with a lot of these fighters or a lot of these athletes or whoever else you cover, there's a protocol of questioning when you have to go about with them, especially if you want to get a good interview. I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I don't know if I'm the only one that's like this, but I am an open book. You can ask me whatever you want, how you want, when you want. There is no protocol. Okay. This is an interview. Anything you're curious about, just ask me, brother. It's no problem.
So let's go. I want to ask you about, obviously, you becoming a trainer. You've been around some great fighters, great trainers. You've sparred some of the best fighters of this era. You did a lot of work with the late Dr. Bernie, who I was a big fan of. I used to love watching his videos. At what point did you come up with your own style of training in your head, and which fighters and trainers did you take bits from?
Well, when it comes to trainers, a lot of my schooling comes from my experiences on the road with different trainers, as far as Emmanuel Stewart's, the Harold Knights, my home trainer mentor, Fred Jenkins, my big brother, Zaire Raheem, David Reed, Olympic gold medalists and stuff like that. So it's almost like, and then as I got older in my career, I was fortunate enough to have Joe Goosen train me. And then from there, I was fortunate enough to meet the Bernie, who you see me do a lot of work with. So, pardon me, I've been around in so many good trainers and so many great fighters and so many great experiences that I had. So what I do is I just mix it all in the pot and I stir it up and I put my own twist on it. And, you know, I think my system of teaching is going to be strictly about fundamentals, strictly about decoys, the art of decoying, the art of using educational feints, the art of having an educated left hand, which is the jab, which is doing so many things off the jab. And I owe all of that to the great trainers and fighters that even if they didn't know that, they was teaching me for the task that I have ahead of me now that's coming, not even counting the one that happened last Saturday. But that's what it was. And I believe it all was ordained. And, you know, I give all credit to God for putting me in those positions to be around such greatness, because I'm not going to do nothing but implement and put it into other young guys or other fighters and stuff like that that's coming my way.
You touched on, you know, your style of training. And if I was to say Malik Scott takes a fighter from scratch, what could a fan expect to see in that fighter? What sort of style? Are we talking an aggressive fighter or a counter puncher?
If a fighter comes to me, and we're going to say he already has a resume or he already is a fighter, whatever his strength is, I'm never going to take that away. I'm going to add on to that. I'm going to implement good base, systematic foundation to his feet, to his balance. I'm going to try my damnedest. I don't have all the answers. I'm never going to have all the answers. But what I can do is make a fighter better. And that's not by changing him or taking something away from him that he's good at. It's about just adding on to whatever he's good at. So I would say, if you give me a fighter from scratch, the first thing I'm going to do is work on his feet. Then I'm going to work with my way up. Then I'm going to make his hips violent. Then I'm going to make his hips violent with his hands. So he's turning the punches good. Then I'm going to make his head movement good. And then I'm going to make sure his left hand is educated before he even throw a right hand. Then I'm going to teach him decoys. Then I'm going to teach him feints. And then I'm going to tell him, don't just jog when you're doing road work. Run when you're doing road work. And boxing will not be over when a fighter leaves the gym from me. That's something that I take notice to, and I've learned too as well on my journey in this. If you're training fighters, a lot of times these fighters would train, but when they leave the gym, especially if they're young, boxing is over. They got family, they got girlfriends, they got school. I believe as a trainer, it's your job to do more than just train a fighter inside the gym. I think you should train people also how to deal in life. I think you should train your fighter and let them know the importance of road work, not just going out there jogging. And where do I get that from? Well, I was with Lennox Lewis for, we'll say three to 4 years at the end of his career. And one thing I learned from Lennox Lewis is, and I never was able to implement myself when it came to road work. I used to try. Lennox didn't jog. He ran. And his goal was to make himself extremely tired quick as possible so then he could push past that limit of fatigue. He continued to do that. So then once those dark times would come in fights, him and Ray Mercer, him and Holyfield 1 and 2, they wouldn't really be dark spots, dark places to him because he took himself there with road work. He took himself there with in sparring. He took himself there with getting fatigued, getting tired, and hitting that point where you feel like you can't go no more, and you constantly pushing past that. And those are things I think that I can implement on any fighter of any style, because styles make fights. But also, I think any style could be beat. There's not a style that has ever been created that you see that hasn't been beat besides Floyd Mayweather style. And there's times Floyd has been in tough fights, but no one actually ever defeated him. So it's almost like, I'll say, man, in my opinion, my humble opinion right now, I see myself being an all-around future Hall of Fame trainer. And will that come from me being a know-it-all and me just being a know-it-all? No, it will be me being a forever student and teacher of this noble art. I think my advantage is I'm always willing to learn. I'm gonna be one of those trainers that you're gonna see me with fighters. I'm gonna be their head coach, and then you're gonna see me bring other trainers in. You're gonna see me have wrestling trainers in my gym. You're gonna see me have Muay Thai trainers in my gym. You're gonna see me have different boxing trainers in my gym. What I won't be is an insecure trainer. That's what I won't be. And what I mean by that is I won't be extremely selfish with my fighter, knowing my fighter need a certain kind of help, but I'm so insecure that he's going to leave me that I don't go and bring in other help that can help us. You know what I mean? And this noble art is very, very serious, man. There's people losing their lives over this. There's kids losing their lives in this sport. The young lady, the amateur, not even the amateur boxer, professional boxer, she died the other day. She was not the other day, a few days ago. She passed away. I forgot the young lady's name, but it's just tragic. So you got to take it very, very serious.
You know about the
Mexican, as a trainer.
You know about the Mexican lady, yeah?
Yes.
The 18. I think she was 18. I think she was 19. Which is
baby,
crazy,
man.
isn't it?
Baby,
crazy.
Baby. And I would say the art of defense is lacking in this game. The art of defense is lacking in this game. Everybody want to do a shoulder roll. Everybody want to do a high guard. Everybody want to do a cross guard. In my opinion, every fighter should know how to fight every guard good. You look at Floyd Mayweather. You look at a lot of these fighters that's considered all-time greats. They knew how to fight and do everything well. Everything well. Not everything good. Everything well. You know, and that would be my goal. My goal would be to have fighters, take them to a level that's far beyond their imagination, and make them complete fighters by the time they get to their pinnacle, that they're complete and they can compete against anybody in the world. You could drop them off international anywhere, and they could not just hold their own. Hello?
Yeah, I'm still here. I can still hear
you. See me, brother?
I can't see you, but I can still hear you. You're back in the room.
All right, yeah, there you go. But and just make them complete fighters. You know what I mean? So, I mean, we'll see, man. My brother Deontay Wilder, he's always thought out. He's always thought and believed I was a genius in this boxing thing, and he believed that because he's always noticed how much of a student historian I've been in the game. He always understood how detailed I was when it comes to meticulous things in boxing. My background, me doing it since I've been 12 years old, and I'm 40 years old now. Me being in fights, fighting at the highest level, fighting at the medium level, my amateur background. So, you know, I believe whatever it takes for a trainer to be considered great one day, I think I'm headed in the right direction. We'll see how things plan out, man. But I love my position right now. Yeah, man, I'm happy with it. And I don't do nothing but expect to continue to get better, because my first time out, like I told Coogan the other day, my first time out was against Tyson Fury in Sugar Hill.
That was going to be my next question.
This is my introduction. You know what I mean?
Most trainers, your first assignment is against a journeyman in a fight that your fight is expected to win. So it's almost like cruise control, but you've gone in against the best fighter and potentially the best trainer in world boxing. At any point did you think I'm in over my head at the moment?
Not one time, and I think that comes from because I'm extremely, extremely confident in the cloth that I come from concerning teaching and being taught. And I've been doing it since I've been 12 years old. And I've been around, and I've always been a sponge. And when I was around knowledgeable people, any Hall of Fame trainer that I've been around, one thing they're going to tell you about me is Malik asked a ton of questions. He always wanted to film study. He always was trying to learn in the gym. No one will ever come to you and tell you I'm some hard-headed guy. That's not it. You know, I've always wanted to be as educated as possible. So I went into this thing especially since I was training, and I am the head trainer of the hardest punch, in my opinion, in the history of the sport. And so there's a lot. My education with his natural dynamics and how receptive he was in camp, there was no reason for me to not feel confident. I had all the confidence in the world that we was going to beat Tyson Fury. And my prediction was almost right. I said Deontay would stop him inside of 5 rounds. He knocked him down twice in the 4th. And Fury was able to get up and continue on. But I had great reasons for feeling that way. I don't take none of it back. Deontay is still one of the most dynamic fighters in the history of the sport. Fury is great. Sugar Hill is great teacher, and not just from what he did with Fury. I think the great things he did with Adonis, the great things he do for the kids at Kronk, the great things he's been able to do since Emmanuel Stewart, when Emmanuel Stewart was here, when Emmanuel Stewart passed away. He continued to keep the Kronk legacy going, and they got a good thing going, man. And I believe so does me and Deontay. I believe we're just getting started, and I have so much more to give him. And yeah, I just can't wait for us to get back in the lab and continue to cook up, man.
Awesome. In the build up to the fight, I saw some things that I found pretty strange. Obviously, being British, I saw wrestling stars, Drake, American celebrities cheering Tyson Fury on. I'm guessing Deontay at some point will have seen these videos. You may have seen them. Did that affect you in any way? And how did that make you feel, obviously, being American? Because a slight contrast to that is Tyson Fury in his early days. The British public didn't warm to him. He was hated by most British fans. They're all lapping him up now, but majority of them hated him. So over to you, Malik.
This has nothing to do with Fury, what I'm about to say. Some of the shout outs or some of the support quotes I've seen and heard from, we'll say, the Drakes and other celebrities and Beanie Man, they look very manufactured. They look like they was payroll. They look like they was in pocket kind of shout outs. What history do we have of Drake and Tyson Fury being good friends? What history do we have? Last time I seen Beanie Man, he was actually with Anthony Joshua at Anthony Joshua's birthday party or something like that. So it was very, very weird to see that. But I know this is entertainment business. So I know what comes with that. But the good thing about it is it goes to show those guys' eyes are on boxing. Let's just say that I'm happy about that. But them personally, I think Drake even said something like, he's crazy in his head, but he's at purest heart, and I love you. Stop. Fake shit, stop. And I'm not really good at dealing with that kind of shit, but please stop that. Those are them in-pocket supporting fake shit. It was good though, man. I guess business. And then on the other hand, I'm just thinking about some of those quotes and videos I was seeing of people supporting him, and just Beanie Man literally, because it was funny when I seen Beanie Man doing it, because I'm like, I just seen him with Anthony Joshua dancing at a party. Now here he is rapping with Tyson, doing a freestyle with Tyson Fury, big in Tyson Fury things. So they really just come across as, I call them in pocket kind of moments. They come across like they was paid, or it was a friend of a friend, and they said, say this, or, make it seem like y'all are closer. It just seemed manufactured to me. And that's fine, and that's cool. Like, you know what I mean? Because it is business, so I get it.
Okay. Going into the fight, you obviously, I watched your Instagram, I followed you all the way through, and I saw you was putting up a lot of historical fights. You were picking up little bits from fights. What was your game plan going into that fight? How did you want to beat Tyson Fury, and what did you drill into Deontay? Because people assumed you was going to go to the body. Obviously, you know, you started off doing that in the first couple of rounds, but ultimately, what was your game plan?
My game plan for Tyson Fury was, we'll say specifically for Tyson Fury, or we'll say my system is based around whatever it is you want to do, you have to make sure you decorate it first. Whatever it is you want to do, you have to make sure you dress it up first, especially against a guy like Tyson Fury, who's extremely well with reflexes, who's extremely well with herky-jerk moves. So my game plan, or our game plan, was to really dress him up and then take him out. And Deontay came out doing that for the first 2 rounds. If you all seen, he was jabbing to the bicep, he was jabbing to the body, he was feinting good, and all that really was to dress him up to hit him with the missile. We got away from that, especially after the first knockdown. Fury caught us with a very good shot on the ear. Deontay equilibrium was off after that, so he never was the same. So he went back, and from there, to me, he was on all fumes and all guts. So the game plan was really to hit Fury everywhere except his head. And the reason why it was that is because we wanted to distract him. We wanted to dress him up, then take him out. Because I believe if you want to hit Tyson Fury with a right hand, you can't just go out there and hit him with a right hand. I believe if you want to hit him with a left hook, you can't just go out there and hit him with a left hook. I believe you have to decoy him. I believe you have to feint him. I believe you have to hit him everywhere where you're not aiming at to eventually hitting where you want to aim him at. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So I think that's just what it is. And if you look at all the Tyson Fury fights, so we'll say, well, why did you think? Because a lot of people, they didn't understand my prediction to why I thought Deontay would knock Fury out of 5 rounds. And my prediction was inside of 5 rounds, because look at Tyson Fury, if I'm not mistaken, look at anytime he has trouble with fighters, anytime he's had trouble with fighters, Cunningham, the knockdown, a couple other guys that caught him good, it's always after the 3rd round. I think it's always between the 2nd or 3rd and 4th or 5th round. And that's because Fury starts taking his opponent for granted. And it doesn't care how hard you hit. It doesn't care what your style is. After 3 rounds, Fury starts taking you for granted. And I loved our chances inside of 5 rounds that people take us for granted, because I knew if Deontay hit him good, he can hurt him, which he did. When Fury got up, Deontay was calmer than he usually is, but we can be a little bit more calmer, and we could be a lot more surgical when we have guys hurt, especially guys that's at the highest level. Because Fury is very good at evading punches while he's hurt. So a guy like that, you got to go right back down to the body, then back up to the head. Everything with Fury is about decoying, feinting, wherever it is you're aiming at. Even decoying with your eyes with a guy like Fury, because these are things he do. You look at Fury, he pump fake 4 or 5, 6 times, then he'll throw 2 jabs. He herky jerk, then he'll hit you with an offset jab. He'll feint a right hand, then he'll throw a hook. He'll feint a right hand, then he'll throw a right hand. And these are the things that have to be done to him as well. I believe anybody that's had success with him, it came from that. And I must say, in my humble opinion, I believe Deontay Wilder is one of the opponents that have had much success with him. 1 draw, 2 losses. The last fight was considered one of the best trilogies of all time. So, I mean, we're in a good position, man. Deontay's stock hasn't went down at all. He put it all on the line. He went out on his shield against, in my opinion, one of the best heavyweights, of any era you could say, Tyson Fury. Even in the build-up, I never said Fury couldn't fight. I never disrespected his craft, because I knew what we was going against, and I knew the brain that was behind him, which was Sugar Hill. So, but I just thought we could outdo them guys, and we came out good. We really did. The game plan, we came out good. It wasn't far-fetched at all. Deontay didn't stick to it after the knockdown, because he got hit with a very good shot. Credit to Fury, he hit him with a good right hand. And from there, Deontay equilibrium, he never was the same after that. So, it became him on all heart and fumes from there on out. So, but what was the game plan? The game plan is to dress him up and take him out. And how do you dress him up? You hit him everywhere. You got to hit Fury everywhere. You got to hit him everywhere, and then hit him where you really, really want to hit him. So I just believe Fury is the kind of guy you got to beat up. And, you know, you got to beat his body up. You got to beat his arms up. You got to beat, but what you can't do is just go out there head hunting. Because just going out there head hunting, look what that got us. That got us a draw. Going out there head hunting, that got us a loss. Going out there head. So I had to try to bring something new that I felt as though that will work for us, that will give Deontay a creative mindset. And it was working, in my opinion, for, you know, for the first 2 rounds, or, you know what I mean, right before the knockdown happened. And, you know, Fury was able to get through it. He hit us with a shot. We came back and knocked him down twice. You know, it was a war back and forth at time. And, you know, Fury won it. Credit to him and Sugar Hill, man. They stuck in there.
Well, going to that knockdown in round 4, the first Wilder knockdown, you know, we hear the phrase, you know, shook him to his boots. I'm guessing you've seen the fight back. You've seen the slow motion replay of the first right hand that Wilder landed off the ropes. You see it land on his temple, and you literally see all his body fat vibrate. Have you seen,
it was
that
a
footage?
wave, yeah.
How does a man take a shot like that? Is there any other boxer in heavyweight boxing that could take a shot like that and get back up? Because that literally shook him to his boots.
Yeah, and I hate to say this, man, but that credit have to be given just to Fury. That's just not physical. That's called intestinal fortitude, and a man, you know, mental toughness is kicking in. Because not only is he going down from a very hard shot, he's knowing that he's hurt, but what he have to get up to if he get up. So for him to make the conscious decision to get up, knowing he's hurt, knowing what's coming at him, you got to give Fury credit for the mental toughness, for being willing to face being knocked unconscious again, being willing to face getting caught again. And he was able to weather the storm. And we knocked him down again after that, but he was able to weather the storm and come back.
That second knockdown, I've got 2 questions here. Have you and Deontay, obviously, I'm guessing you've both seen the fight. Have you talked about the fight since since it's happened? It's been over a week now.
I've seen it probably 2 times now in total. And when I say I've seen it, I didn't film study it, but I've watched it. I haven't able to been breaking it down. I took a couple clips that I'm going to, you know, put a video together for Deontay, and Deontay hasn't seen it yet.
Because that second knockdown, I was going to say, have you discussed that second knockdown with him? Because you can see the referee stopped his count, and Tyson was down for probably about 13 seconds. But obviously the referee had to get Deontay back into his corner. Have you discussed that moment?
Yeah, I did discuss that with Deontay, and I told him, I said, but you got to realize, even though Deontay knocked Fury down in that 4th round, he was still not coherent because he had got knocked down the round before. Yeah. So when he knocked him down, he went to the corner. He was very incoherent. He just didn't know. But that cost us more time on the clock for the count. And it's in the rule book that if you're not in the neutral corner, the ref will stop the count and put you in a neutral corner, then continue the count. So, like, you know, I really have no problems with it because I look at it like we just was in a tough position as far as being coherent. And Deontay went to the opposite corner. The ref did his job. Fury was able to get more time on the clock because of that. And fate took his course.
Obviously, Deontay's put out a public message, you know, congratulating Tyson on his win. Are we likely to see an embrace between both fighters, do you think, if they ever bumped into each other again? Because I think Tyson would welcome it.
Yeah, you just never know, man. Like, you know, especially with these 2 guys, like, you just never know. Like, Deontay is someone that's always going to represent himself on how he feel inside. He's not good at, you know, playing the manufactured game. And Fury is the same. So, you know, I think that's one of those questions or one of those incidents that we'll actually have to just see when if it happens or if it don't happen. You know what I mean? But we'll see, man. You know, I respect what they did the other night in the ring. Like, you know, I'm for sure they don't just have my respect. They have the whole world respect. And, you know, boxing won.
100%. Just a couple of more questions. Obviously,
that's good, brother.
You've already said Deontay's definitely coming back, and I'm glad to hear that. Is he likely to take a warm-up fight, or do you think he's going back in against somebody like an Andy Ruiz or, you know, Helenius, who just had a really good win recently, another top 10 fighter?
My answer to that is lately people would ask me that, and I just believe Deontay is big-time boxer, man. I think he gets up for big fights. I think he enjoys fighting fighters that's considered dangerous. We'll have to see who the first fight back is going to be. But what I will say is whoever it is going to be someone that can fight, someone with a very suitable record. Because, like I said, he's big time boxing, and Deontay belongs in elements where the stars and the celebrities and the lights and the cameras, because that's who he is. He's built an aura of entertainment purely around him, that everything he do is under a microscope. And I tell him all the time that that's a blessing, because that just means you've made it to a pinnacle of superstardom when everything you do is being watched. And the price to pay for that is you have to stay at that level now. And he's at that level. And that fight last Saturday, that didn't do nothing but, in my opinion, raise his stock for people to want to see him even more. So the first fight back is going to be against someone good with a very suitable record, and Deontay is going to be up for it. And in my opinion, what he went through last Saturday is going to make him 10 times more dangerous for his next opponent.
100%. And that statement, I personally love it, because I love that mentality of, death is better than defeat. In the current crop of heavyweights, how many other fighters do you think fight with that sort of mentality?
None. I think to a certain, I think Deontay Wilder, and I believe Tyson Fury is like that without saying it, but I believe he's like that as well. But like I said, man, I don't think no one is like that besides Deontay Wilder that means it. I think a lot of them will say it, but I don't really think a lot of them really mean it. You know what I mean? I know for a fact that dude means it. He like I said to you guys before, he's already set up things for his family outside the ring, just in case things don't go right for him inside the ring. And this is someone that is literally trying to do what he's trying to do that to guys he's fighting. So if it's his turn, he don't have no problem with it. Some people, that's very uncomfortable for people to hear. Some people, that they look at it like, well, we don't want nothing to happen to him. Well, we don't want, please stop that shit, because if something did happen to him, it'd be 18 million trillion views on YouTube. And people say they don't watch this shit. And why is the views so high if y'all don't watch this shit?
100%. And people are paying to watch two men go at it with 10-ounce gloves. What else can you expect?
Absolutely.
It's a bit of a contradiction.
It's mankind, and we all do it sometimes. So I get it, but it's like, Deontay Wilder's trying to send people to the next dimension, and if it so happened to him, he's fine with it.
And I want to touch up on Anthony Joshua. You must have seen that he's in the US at the moment, and he's been in San Fran with Virgil, I think, and he's been to see Eddie Reneso, and I believe he's been with Ronnie Shields today. So he's on a bit of a whistle-top tour of America. We're trying out different trainers, and it seems like he will be changing trainers. Do you think there's a trainer out in America that can help AJ beat Usyk?
I think it's trainers in America that can help AJ, definitely. I think AJ could use some help to beat Usyk. That's a whole nother thing now, but we'll see. I seen him with Ronnie Shields today. I'm a huge advocate of Ronnie Shields training and teaching. I've been watching him since I was a kid. He's done great things in boxing as a fighter and as a head coach. I've always respected Ronnie. I seen him with Canelo trainer the other day. Somebody else that raised that had a fighter from scratch within Canelo. He's also has a nice camp going on it. So the places he's stopping is very suitable. The places he's stopping is very built for the task at hand that he have in his rematch with Usyk. So we'll see, man. We'll see. But also, not just physical adjustments have to be made. The mental adjustments have to be made too. And we'll see if that can also help as well, because it ain't just physical to me why AJ lost that fight against Usyk. I think some of it was mental as well. But do I think he could come back and show a better account of himself? Absolutely. Because AJ is a good fighter, man. He's big, he's fast. In my opinion, he put punches together better than any big man in the division when he wants to let him go. So the fight is still competitive, man. But the places he stopped so far for good teaching, right on.
Which one of them three would you pick if you was AJ?
Who was his first one?
I believe Virgil Hunter. I think he spent a bit of time with Virgil Hunter.
Who?
Virgil Hunter.
He did go to Virgil Hunter, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Virgil's a very good teacher as well. He had Andre Ward, and I spent some time with Virgil in camp when he had Tony Yoka. So he went to Yogi. Was in there. I don't know who I would pick, but I know it would have to be the one that I feel I could get the best fundamentals from and the one that I would gel with a little bit outside of the boxing gym too, because outside the boxing gym is just as important as inside the boxing gym. You got to be able to gel with people. You got to be able to have a chemistry besides, in my opinion, just fighter and trainer. If you're a fighter and you're a damn good fighter, but you pay me, but you're an awful person, I don't care how much you pay me. I could never teach you. I'm horrible at doing business with people that I genuinely have issues with or genuinely don't like or stuff like that. So I know I would never be that kind of trainer that trains someone that I think is a piece of shit as a person, but is a very good fighter in the ring. It doesn't matter to me. Like, it comes first, because if you carry humility in your everyday life as a person, that same humility is going to come in the gym. And that's what I need. I need humility and humbleness in the gym. And at the same time, I need you to be violent in the gym. It's a mixture of things to me that make fighter and trainer have a great chemistry. And I love what AJ is doing right now. He feels as though he needs help. He's going to go get help. And you can't ask much more from a guy like that, man. Like, you know what I mean? He lost. He lost twice. After his second loss, he said, I'm going to go get some help. And that's what he's doing, man. So big up to him, respect to him. And because it take a real man to look in the mirror and say, I need help, and then go get it. So that's what he's doing.
And yourself, Malik, where is it you're looking to set yourself up as a coach? Are you looking to set up in LA, or you're looking to just go whatever you need?
Yeah. Wherever it is I set up at, most likely is going to be here in San Fernando Valley, in West Hills, California. But it most likely is going to be also here, Alabama, Philadelphia, because I move around a lot, man. And how I want to put it,
you've got your son in Philadelphia, haven't you? Is it young Malik Jr. in Philadelphia? I watched some footage of him.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's in Philadelphia right now. But it's getting to a point, though, brother, that I'm going to have to actually get in one place and settle down all the way there. And, that's something that I'm going to have to plan out. And we'll see how these next few months turn out and, what else it is that I got going. But, I love the position that I'm in. I love the position that Deontay's in. I love the position that the heavyweight division is in. Boxing is winning right now. We had a hell of a fight that fans from all genres of entertainment really enjoyed. So boxing is winning. So I'm happy, man.
No worries. Last question.
Okay, brother.
Obviously, Deontay's had 3 attempts. Other than Deontay, is there any other heavyweight in this era, in your opinion, that can beat Tyson Fury?
I would give Usyk a very, very good shot at beating Tyson Fury. Now, can he? I don't know. Will he? I don't know. But with Usyk's style, with Usyk heart, with Usyk, would you bet on Usyk? That's probably a better way of putting it. Would you bet on any fight? Would I bet on Usyk and Fury?
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't bet on that. No, I wouldn't bet on either. No. That's a very dangerous fight, in my opinion, stylistically, for both guys. But if you're a betting man, the way how Fury uses his size and just come forward, it comes to lean and grab, like, you would have to go with Fury, because with Usyk, is Usyk big enough to have an answer for that?
Yeah, you're still here, mate. Yeah.
Yeah. Is Usyk big enough to have an answer for that? Is he strong enough to have an answer for that? We'll see. A lot of people thought he wasn't going to be strong enough to have an answer for AJ, but he threw a monkey wrench in a lot of people's plans. So I believe spiritually and physically he has the ability to get it done. But it's just about on the night, man. This boxing thing is really about on the night, who shows up and who's able to implement their game plan the most and throw a monkey wrench at the other guy's game plan. So we'll see.
Fair play. Well, Malik, thank you very much for your time, and you've given us loads of time to. I really appreciate that.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely.
I've always been curious, before you go, your name Malik, obviously it's an Arabic name. How did you get named Malik? I've always wondered.
Oh, well, it's an Arabic name. It means king. My mother, when my mother was married to my brother's father, and he was Muslim. So my mother married into Islam, and my name is Malik, and my brother's name is Jamil Ali Rucker, and obviously that name is an Islamic name, and but it's because my mother married into
Always Islam. Been curious. Thank you for answering that. No problem, Malik. Thank you very much. Enjoy the weather and send some sun our way, and we'll catch you soon.
God bless you, brother.
You as well. Take care, brother. Thank you.
All right.